I'm Glendyne Gerrard, the co-founder and director of Defend Dignity, a national organization which works to end all forms of sexual exploitation in Canada. I'm coming to you from the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Thank you for the privilege of speaking to you today. Defend Dignity is strongly supportive of PCEPA and its objectives. We agree that denouncing and prohibiting the demand for prostitution and denouncing and prohibiting the profiting from another's exploitation by third parties are needed in order to deter prostitution and stop its harms. As part of our work, we have educated over 10,000 people across Canada about sexual exploitation. We remind them that prostitution cannot exist without buyers. We champion gender equality, and we look for ways to dismantle patriarchal attitudes that fuel the demand to buy sex. We are also researching the attitudes of sex buyers as found on a Canadian online escort review board to better understand the men who buy. These boards are online forums where sex buyers review and rate those they purchase for sex. Our analysis of comments from a Canadian sex buyers review board has found that number one, the most commonly searched for term is young. Buyers prefer young sellers. One reviewer states, and I quote, "More money does not mean more services. That's just the price of admission to enter a young hot girl's booty," end of quote. The second most searched term is a reference to a woman's body size. Some reviewers score women's body parts out of 10. Thirdly, racism and racist stereotypes are rampant on the review board. Discussing the pictures on one seller's website, one buyer said, I quote, "I wonder when I don't get a bum shot too, particularly for an ebony lady," end of quote. Lastly, trans women experience greater violence. In a discussion about prostituted trans women, one buyer said, I quote, "I think we have all the right to choose who we are with sexually. Not disclosing, especially in advertisement, is deception in my opinion and can lead to dangerous situations. I don't condone violence, but it is just a reality," end of quote. Our organization also has a group of men who respond to online ads for sex and engage with buyers at the point of purchase, giving them information on the potential harms of their decision to purchase and sexual addiction resources should they want those. Our research findings and our engagement with sex buyers reveal their attitudes and actions can be harmful. Male sex buyers believe that men are entitled to paid sexual access to primarily women's bodies, and this payment entitles them to do what they want. Our laws are a teacher, helping to shape our culture. The purchasing offense must be kept in place to deter these harmful attitudes and behaviors. Defend Dignity also provides financial aid through our support fund to individuals in the sex industry or those that are seeking to leave it. To date, the fund has had 291 applicants and almost $200,000 has been provided in funding. Common needs are debt repayment, as pimps and traffickers often rack up exorbitant credit card or cell phone debt, trauma counseling, housing, dental, educational needs. Applications come from across Canada, 80 service providers, law enforcement, and support agencies. The applicants are representative of the large number of individuals in the sex industry who are there not by choice and who need the protection of this legislation. They are a key reason why we support PCEPA. We owe them much thanks for the information gleaned from their intake forms and the letters they include with their applications. You have a brief by Michaela Gray, who conducted an analysis of the data from the 2021 spring submissions to our fund. Her brief provides a summary of her findings. 53 applications were analyzed with the goal of better understanding the diverse experiences of individuals impacted by the sex industry. This analysis has been peer-reviewed and is about to be published in an academic journal. I want to highlight two significant findings from this research. The 53 applicants described their experience in diverse ways, such as prostitution, escorting, survival sex, and trafficking. Fully 96% of the women reported experiencing third-party involvement or trafficking at some point during their time in the industry. 36% experienced third-party involvement from gangs or organized crime. Regardless of how an individual described their involvement in the industry, there was fluidity of choice, exploitation, and coercion expressed in all of their experiences. For example, 9 women described their experience as independent, and yet 6 of those also said that a trafficker was involved at some point. Of the 34 who said they were in prostitution, 26 also said they were trafficked. The research found that individuals may self-identify their experience in different ways, and their involvement cannot be adequately conveyed in single-use terminology. Many described how boundaries were crossed and they were continually put in situations that they did not desire to engage in. Lastly, of the 19 who disclosed their age when they entered the sex industry, 12 were minors. One was just 2 years old when she was first sold for sex. The legislation is well named when it speaks of protecting our communities and our children. Based on the findings of this research, we urge you to uphold all provisions related to third-party involvement.
Thank you,
These laws are essential.
Ms.
Thank
Gerrard,
you for keeping them in place.
Thank you.